So, Devan, I see that insurance fraud is on the rise.
Yes, indeed. Insurance fraudsters, Masego, and syndicates are becoming increasingly brazen in their attempts to defraud life insurers. So the Association of Savings and Investments South Africa says investigations have found that syndicates, particularly in the Eastern Cape, take out funeral insurance on victims they subsequently kill, mind you, in order to submit a claim. Now, Govender is the convener of the Forensic Standing Committee at ASISA. He joins me now. Megan, thanks very much indeed for your time, if you can hear me. I mean, I understand this is just part of the findings of your latest report, but the extent of criminality to defraud funeral policies, I mean, it's really extraordinary. How widespread is this killing to submit a claim?
Good morning, Devan, and good morning to your listeners. Yes, we continue to see an increase in attempts to commit fraud because very often the insurance industry is seen as a very soft target. It's often seen as a victimless crime. So we just continue to see this increase. I mean, if you look at the numbers from 2020 to 2021, we went from just over 500 to close on to 800 million in fraud that was identified across the industry.
I mean, take us through some examples, because some of those cited in the report are quite, like I said, quite brazen. Syndicates become familiar with the life funeral insurers' policies and procedures, and from that point, what do these criminals or fraudsters do in the cases that you've cited? So,
Devan, you know, there's a value chain that operates in the industry, and along that value chain, each person has a role to play. So, from people that work in the Department of Health, Department of Home Affairs, funeral parlors, mortuaries, they each play a role, and through that, what's required to submit a funeral claim is supporting documents, and typically they find ways to buy documents, to forge documents, and through that submit that through to the insurers for the payment of a claim. And obviously, we've seen this trend continue to increase over the years, and we've had to implement different methods to combat these incidents of fraud.
I understand that you also have instances, now these are specific examples, where you would get an application for cover of people who are homeless, who are sickly, maybe abusing substances, and then 2-3 years later those people are found dead, sometimes shot. How do you go about tracking some criminality like this? I mean, again, very brazen indeed.
Yes, indeed it is, and we're seeing a trend recently with specifically in the death and the funeral claim space, where unnatural deaths are becoming more common, and obviously with internal controls in place, we are starting to pick up anomalies in the claim documentation that's submitted to us. So through that, and obviously, investigators out on the road, we're starting to pick up a lot more trends that's happening. We obviously, the member companies also collaborate in terms of, sharing data to some extent, and we find that it's not just a single company that's typically involved.
Blowing the whistle on this sort of thing, I mean, it's understandable that if this type of fraud is prevalent, and if it's there, someone's watching it, someone's seeing it. So blowing the whistle is crucial to stop it. But how easy is that to come by? I mean, and what's the role of law enforcement in this as well?
Well, we work very closely with law enforcement. So when member companies identify fraud, we typically, register a criminal case, and where we find that we can identify the kingpins behind it, we work closely with them. I mean, if you look at the case of Rosemary and Global last year, it took quite a number of years for us to get that case onto the road, but when it did, it went through quite smoothly. And, you know, the evidence that our investigation teams acquired over the different cases.
Megan, if I can come in there, can
really,
you just remind us about that case? What exactly happened there?
Rosemary took out policies for family members and then hired hitmen to have them killed, and subsequently submitted claims to a number of insurance companies.
Presumably
so
a large... go ahead.
Yeah, essentially she benefited out of submitting those fraudulent claims.
Now, presumably
That's
a large majority of these claims are honest, because you look at reports like this and you see the enormity of what we're looking at. But let's not forget that, you know, this is a multi-million, if not billion rand flow in terms of finances. Majority of these claims are honest, though, aren't they?
Yes, definitely. And, you know, as much as we talk about, you know, the knock-on effect of fraudulent claims on premiums, I think for me the impact of fraudulent claims is on, you know, the honest Joe in the street that submits a claim that now has to go through additional controls, additional checks, and really, you know, delays the service delivery from an insurer's perspective. So there's a few aspects that, you know, fraudulent claims impacts, and you're right, you know, it's a small percentage that actually impacts the honest claimant.
Yeah, of course, it has impacts on the premiums as well. Well, thanks very much indeed, Megan, Govender there from ASISA, the forensic department. All right, quick look before I hand back.